So the late joined students, welcome and good morning to all my dear students. And as per decided, we are going to start a new chapter, and the name of chapter of our today's session is prescription. Okay, so prescription is very important in the life of a pharmacist. Okay, जर तुम्हाला फार्मासिस्ट व्हायचं असेल तर प्रिस्क्रिप्शन हे खूप इम्पॉर्टंट आहे. प्रिस्क्रिप्शन शिवाय फार्मासिस्ट इज अनेबल टू वर्क. Prescription is very important. Prescription is a part of life of pharmacist. So on that basis, let's discuss the prescription. What is the meaning of prescription? Before that, in the prescription chapter, what we are going to learn, what we are going to discuss, just these are the contents of our prescription chapter. In that we are going to learn the introduction of prescription. Means in that we have seen, we have to see the definition of prescription, then parts of prescription. What are the parts? Prescription सगळ्यांना माहित आहे इथून तिथून, but prescription in a point of pharmacist, prescription as a pharmacist कसं पाहायचं ते आपल्याला ह्या चॅप्टर मध्ये शिकायचं आहे. So the parts of prescription, the types of prescription, and the legal requirement for valid prescription is what. Then how a pharmacist should handle a prescription. Then what are the errors in prescription that should be understood by the pharmacist. The errors are happened by the physician, the errors happened by the pharmacist in reading that prescription. Both possible. चुका, errors ज्याला आपण म्हणतो ते pharmacist कडूनही होऊ शकतात during reading of prescription, during understanding of prescription, and the errors can happen by the doctor, by the physician while writing the prescription. Okay, and some abbreviations which are used by the physicians, which are used by the doctors while writing the prescription. Abbreviations, short form doctor बरेच वापरतात. ते कोणकोणते abbreviations आहेत तर ह्या चॅप्टर मध्ये आपल्याला हे सगळं शिकायचं आहे. Understand my dear students? So these are the contents of this prescription chapter. After finishing all these parts, we declared that this chapter is finished, or ultimately the chapter will be finished after finishing all these points. Understand? So on this note, let's start with the first point, that is introduction to the prescription, how the word prescription has evolved. So let's start with that. The first, that the word prescription is derived from a Latin term or Latin language, as every pharmacy term has been derived from the Greek word or Latin term. Okay, that is not the issue. Just remember the word prescription is derived from the Latin language, Latin word, and the word is prescriptus. Prescriptus नावाचा लॅटिन शब्द आहे. या शब्दापासून प्रिस्क्रिप्शन हा शब्द आपण तयार केलेला आहे किंवा हा शब्द डिराइव्ह केलेला आहे. प्रिस्क्रिप्टस सुद्धा वर्ड हा दोन शब्दापासून बनलेला आहे. ओके, प्रिस्क्रिप्शन हा शब्द कुठून आला? प्रिस्क्रिप्टस या नावापासून आला. बट प्रिस्क्रिप्टस इज अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ two words. Which two words? One word is pre and second word is scriber. Pre means before and scriber meaning to write. Before to write. या शब्दाचा prescriptus चा अर्थ काय होतो? Before to write. आणि ह्या शब्दापासून आपल्यापर्यंत prescription हा शब्द आलेला आहे. So the word prescription is derived from the Latin term prescriptus, And prescriptus is a combination of two words, that is pre means before and scriber means to write. So the prescription means to write before, here the given to write before, which means prescription had to be written before a drug could be compounded and administered to the patient. म्हणजे प्रिस्क्रिप्शन हे कधी लिहिलं गेलं पाहिजे, जेव्हा the drug should be compounded and administered to the patient. Before the drug could be compounded and administered to the patient. Understand the introduction or how the prescription word we derived from a Latin term. Don't forget this concept. So moving towards the next, that this is the prescription derivation of from Latin language prescriptus. Okay, so let's move towards the actual definition of prescription, as you are interested to know that. Okay, so the prescription is nothing but, prescription is an order written by a physician, dentist, veterinarian, or any other registered medical practitioner, that is called as the RMP. RMP चा अर्थ काय होतो? Registered medical practitioner. Then it is physician, dentist, veterinarian, or any other medical practitioner, any other registered medical practitioner, to a pharmacist to compound and dispense the specific drug to the patients or for the patients. Understand? So again, this definition is very simple and you have to understand, and this is a very simple definition. Just you understand something in that definition, then you are able to write or able to say this definition of prescription. So again we are repeating at once. It is an written order by a physician. बरोबर? काय आहे? दोन शब्द, दोन क्वेश्चन विचारायचे ऍक्च्युअल मध्ये. इट इज अन रिटन ऑर्डर. इट इज अन रिटन ऑर्डर कोण लिहिलेलं आहे? इट इज रिटन बाय फिजिशियन. कुणासाठी लिहिलेलं आहे? इट इज रिटन फॉर दी फार्मासिस्ट. कशासाठी लिहिलेलं आहे? टू कंपाऊंड अँड डिस्पेन्स स्पेसिफिक ड्रग फॉर दी पेशंट्स. म्हणजे प्रिस्क्रिप्शन हे पेशंट साठी नसतं. अंडरस्टँड? तुम्ही म्हणत असाल पेशंट साठी प्रिस्क्रिप्शन दिले जातात, प्रिस्क्रिप्शन दिले जातात फार्मासिस्ट साठी, आणि फार्मासिस्ट ते काय करतं? कंपाऊंड आणि डिस्पेन्स करतं पेशंटला देण्यासाठी. ऍक्च्युअली प्रिस्क्रिप्शन इज अन रिटन ऑर्डर बाय अ फिजिशियन, dentist, veterinary, or any other registered medical practitioner to a pharmacist to compound and dispense a specific drug for the patient is called as the prescription. Don't forget this definition. This definition is very important. Physician ने pharmacist ला prescription लिहिलं आणि pharmacist ने काय केलं? ते prescription घेतलं आणि patient साठी specific required drug or formulation compound and dispense करून त्या patient ला दिलं. That is the meaning of this definition of prescription. Okay, so again कुणाला ऐकायची इच्छा आहे? It is important definition. So again we are going to repeat it and moving forward. Okay, so say with me. Prescription is an written order by a physician, dentist, veterinary, or registered medical practitioner to a pharmacist to compound and dispense specific drug for the patient. This is a book definition, or this prescription is also defined as prescription is a written order for medication issued by physician or registered medical practitioner, and prescription is relationship between physician and pharmacist. This sentence is important. Prescription is a relationship between physician and pharmacist. It is the middleman. Pharmacist is a middleman between the physician, between the doctor and patients. डॉक्टर आणि पेशंट मधला इंटरमिडिएट आहे, दुवा आहे ज्याला आपण म्हणतो. ओके, सो दिस प्रिस्क्रिप्शन इज इम्पॉर्टंट टू अंडरस्टँड द डेफिनेशन of his prescription in front of you. Understand, and don't forget this prescription definition because it is very important one. Understand? Can we go forward? Okay, chalo. Let's move forward. Then we are on the parts of prescription. So let's discuss regarding the parts of prescription. We have to understand a prescription. Prescription म्हणजे काय हे आपल्याला समजलं. आता आपल्याला हे प्रिस्क्रिप्शनचे पार्ट्स कोणकोणते आहेत? What are the parts of prescription? How this prescription is written by the doctors, physicians, that we have to understand is very important. Okay, so what are the actual parts of prescription? So let's focus on these parts of prescription. So a typical prescription consists of the following parts. एक प्रिस्क्रिप्शन तुम्ही तुमच्या डोळ्यासमोर आणा, व्हिज्युअलाइज करा, तुम्हाला हे पार्ट्स ऑफ प्रिस्क्रिप्शन लक्षात येतील. आतापर्यंत आपण भरपूर प्रिस्क्रिप्शन पाहिलेले आहेत. आपल्या घरी खूप प्रिस्क्रिप्शन, आपल्या स्वतःसाठी, आपल्या घरच्यांसाठी खूप प्रिस्क्रिप्शन आपण पाहिलेले आहेत. वेगवेगळ्या डॉक्टरांचे, वेगवेगळ्या हॉस्पिटलचे प्रिस्क्रिप्शन आपण पाहत आलेलो आहोत आणि पाहणार सुद्धा आहोत. दॅट प्रिस्क्रिप्शन्स हॅव्हिंग सेम पार्ट्स, हॅव्हिंग a same format of prescription. Okay, what is that format? What are the parts of that prescription? Let's discuss, my dear student. So the first part of prescription is prescriber office information, means name of his clinic, name of his hospital, whatever name of his dispensary, whatever the name of his office, that information should be mentioned on the first part that we called as the prescriber office information. Prescriber कोण आहे? Prescriber is a physician, doctor, veterinary and dentist, or any other registered medical practitioner, correct? So the first part, prescriber office information. Then you find a second part, that is the date of that prescription, on which date that prescription has been written down. That date is mentioned on that prescription. Okay, my dear students. Third part is the patient information. Patient information लिहिण्याऐवजी तुम्ही तिथं जे ब्रॅकेट मध्ये लिहिलेलं आहे ते सुद्धा लिहू शकता. Okay, patient information, whatever the patient information like name of patient, age of patient, sex of patient, and address of the patient. Okay, so patient information contains all these four information: name, age, sex, and address of the patient. Understand? This is the third part of prescription you will able to find in the prescription. Then important part is the superscription. Then you find a symbol on the prescription, that is RX. RX is called as the, in the prescription, is superscription. Don't forget the word. Okay, and the sequence of this part is very important. हे sequence जे दिलेलं आहे ना parts, 9 parts तुम्हाला समोर दिसत असतील स्लाइड मध्ये, ते 9 parts sequence सुद्धा important आहे. sequence नुसारच हे parts तुम्हाला यायला पाहिजेत, वरती खालती करून चालणार नाही. Understand? So the first part, prescriber office information, second date, third patient information, fourth one is the superscription. It consists of the symbol RX. Then fifth part is the inscription. Inscription, medication prescribed, whatever the medicines written by the doctor, that mentioned in that inscription part. It is also called as the main part of the prescription. Name of medicines are included in the inscription. Then sixth part is the subscription. Subscription is nothing but these are the directions to the pharmacist or dispenser, not for the patient. Subscription मध्ये काय आहे? Direction to the pharmacist. Then seventh part, signature or transcription ज्याला म्हणतो आपण. Signature, direction for the signature म्हणजे तिथं signature नाही आहे. Signature means it is a Latin word. Signature. Signature चं meaning काय आहे? Direction. कुणासाठी? Direction for the patient. And 8 is the renewal instructions. रिन्युअल काही डॉक्टर्स महिन्यांसाठी प्रिस्क्रिप्शन देतात आणि ते रिन्युअल कधी करायचं हे इन्स्ट्रक्शन्स त्या प्रिस्क्रिप्शन वरती लिहिले जातात बाय दी डॉक्टर. ओके, सो and last part of this prescription is prescriber's signature. Okay, here is the signature of doctor physician and registration number of his means registration number of doctor physician has been included at the last of the prescriptions. Understand, my dear students, all these 9 points of prescription, 9 parts of prescription, 9 parts आहेत हे prescription चे. तुम्ही लक्षात घ्या कोणकोणते, आणि हे पार्ट्स तुम्हाला पाठच पाहिजेत, तोंड पाठ पाहिजेत. कोणी विचारलं झोपेत पण व्हॉट आर दी पार्ट्स ऑफ प्रिस्क्रिप्शन, टेल देम प्रिस्क्रायबर्स ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन, डेट, पेशंट इन्फॉर्मेशन, सबस्क्रिप्शन, इन्स्क्रिप्शन, सुपरस्क्रिप्शन, इन्स्क्रिप्शन, सबस्क्रिप्शन, सिग्नेचर, renewal instructions, and prescribers or physician signature and registration number of that physician. Okay, these are the 9 points, 9 parts. Actual points म्हणण्यापेक्षा parts is a better word. These are the parts of prescription. Okay, understand these 9 parts of prescription. कुणाला कळलं नसेल तर परत एकदा रिपीट करूयात. जर everyone is understood, then we move forward to the next slide. Yes, I think there is no problem to you. Anyone not writing in the chat box regarding the problem means you have understood these parts of prescription. So परत एकदा हे पाहून घ्या की 9 पार्ट्स कोणकोणते आहेत, मग आपण पुढच्या स्लाइड वर जाऊयात. ओके, फर्स्ट प्रिस्क्रायबर ऑफिस इन्फॉर्मेशन, डेट, थर्ड पेशंट इन्फॉर्मेशन, फोर्थ सुपरस्क्रिप्शन, फिफ्थ इन्स्क्रिप्शन, सिक्स्थ सबस्क्रिप्शन, seventh signature or transcription, eighth one is the renewal instructions, and ninth one is the prescriber's signature and registration number. Understand, these are the parts of prescription. So let's move towards the explanation of each and every parts of prescription. आपला पहिला पार्ट कोणता होता? Physicians or prescriber office information. Here what information about physician is essential so that patient could be contacted in emergency. Means these information is mentioned on the prescription is doctor's or office name, means his clinic, hospital name, then address of that hospital, clinic, dispensary with phone number and email ID, then prescription number required when calling the pharmacy for a refill. Means prescription serial number is mentioned, but most of the time prescription serial number is mentioned or not mentioned on the prescription, but doctor's office name, his address, his phone number, his email ID, clinic phone number, that should be mentioned in this information. Understand, visualize करा prescription. तुम्हाला हे points खूप सोप्या पद्धतीने लक्षात येतील की पहिला पार्ट काय आहे, प्रिस्क्रायबर्स ऑफिस इन्फॉर्मेशन काय असेल, फिजिशियन बद्दल सगळी इन्फॉर्मेशन यामध्ये इन्क्लूड केलेली आहे. त्यामध्ये with his name, address and contact numbers, mail IDs, all such informations included in that first information part. Then next, date is very important in the prescription. तुम्ही म्हणाल डेट काय इम्पॉर्टंट आहे? Date is very important to write in the prescription because it helps the pharmacist to find out the date of prescribing. म्हणजे कोणत्या डेट मध्ये हे प्रिस्क्रिप्शन एखाद्या पर्टिक्युलर पेशंटला दिलेलं आहे ते ओळखण्यासाठी फार्मासिस्टला प्रिस्क्रिप्शन मध्ये डेट असणं फार गरजेचं आहे. सो इट इन्क्लूडेड इन द पार्ट्स ऑफ प्रिस्क्रिप्शन. That date is very important and it also helps to know when the medicines were last dispensed. If the patient is brought the prescription for refilling, redispensing, 1 महिन्याचे 6 महिन्याचे औषधे दिलेले, समजा 1 महिना पेशंट औषधं खाऊन पुढच्या महिन्याचे औषधं घेऊन जायला आल्यानंतर त्याला खरंच 1 महिना झालेला आहे का, त्याला खरंच दुसऱ्या महिन्यासाठी औषधं घ्यायला सांगितलेले आहेत का, हे सगळ्या गोष्टींचं ज्ञान नॉलेज जे आहे डेट वरूनच त्या फार्मासिस्टला येत असतं. सो डेट इज नॉट फॉर द पेशंट, डेट इज इम्पॉर्टंट फॉर द फार्मासिस्ट टू नो when the medicines are prescribed, whether the prescription is redispensing or not, or why the date is important, because some habit forming narcotic drugs are prescribed by the doctors for that patients, and that should not be repeated. So the date is very important. That is given in the last point of this part of prescription, that is in case of habit forming drugs, the date prevents the misuse of the drugs by the patients. If the habit forming drugs are prescribed for only 3 days, 5 days, after that patients are not allowed to take, and in such situations pharmacists also not able to provide such medications to such that patients habit forming drugs. habit forming drugs जेवढे लिहिलेले आहेत तेवढेच दिलं जातं, त्याच्यानंतर फार्मासिस्ट कडून दिले जात नाही, कारण की डेट असते. त्या फार्मासिस्टला लगेच कळून येते की ह्या डेट मध्ये याला हे प्रिस्क्रिप्शन दिलं होतं या पेशंटला, आता ह्या औषधांची याला गरज नाहीये किंवा देऊ शकत नाही किंवा देता येणार नाहीत. सच इन्फॉर्मेशन, सच नॉलेज फॉर द फार्मासिस्ट इज इम्पॉर्टंट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ डेट ऑफ प्रिस्क्रिप्शन. अंडरस्टँड माय डिअर स्टुडंट्स दिस पार्ट ऑफ प्रिस्क्रिप्शन. डेटचं महत्व काय आहे फार्मासिस्टच्या दृष्टिकोनातून प्रिस्क्रिप्शन मध्ये, हे आपल्याला चांगल्या पद्धतीने लक्षात आलं असेल असं मी समजतो. आणि पुढच्या पार्ट वर मी मूव्ह करतोय, दॅट इज द पेशंट इन्फॉर्मेशन. ॲज वी डिस्कस, पेशंट इन्फॉर्मेशन कंटेन्स नेम, एज, sex and address of the patient. Why patient information is important? Because for the patient identification purpose, which patient or what is the age of that patient, whether it is older one, whether it is whether that patient is pediatric one, whether the patient is old age, whether the patient is adult, whether the patient is male or female, because the dosage has been changed according to the age and sex of the patient. Okay, डोस हे चेंज होत असतात एज बघून, सेक्स बघून पेशंटचं, त्यानुसार डोसेस हे थोडंफार कमी जास्त होऊ शकतात. त्याच्यामुळे पेशंट इन्फॉर्मेशन इम्पॉर्टंट आहे प्रिस्क्रिप्शन मध्ये. जरी नाव, गाव, पत्ता जरी लक्षात ठेवायचा असेल, आयडेंटिफाय करायचा असेल, whether the patient is belonging the same one or not, or डोस वगैरे बरोबर लिहिलेला आहे का नाही डॉक्टरने. समजा पिडियाट्रिक पेशंट आहे, त्याला ऍडल्ट डोस लिहिलेले असतील, दॅट शुड बी रेकग्नाइज्ड, आयडेंटिफाईड बाय दी फार्मासिस्ट. फार्मासिस्टला हे कळायला पाहिजे की एज नुसार, सेक्स नुसार हे डोसेस चेंज होत असतात, आणि त्याच्यासाठी पेशंट इन्फॉर्मेशन ही फार गरजेची आहे. अंडरस्टँड? सो दिस इज द एंड ऑफ द पार्ट 3 of prescription. Then let's move towards the superscription, that is the symbol RX. Okay, superscription is also known by the RX symbol, and this RX symbol is also a Latin term, and the meaning of that RX word is recipe. RX म्हणजे recipe means take thou. It is also called as the take thou. Take thou means you take. लॅटिन टर्म मध्ये ह्याचा अर्थ काय आहे? टेक थाऊ. ताऊ नाही, थाऊ. टेक थाऊ, which has the meaning you take. Okay, it is a Latin term RX. So it is right before the starting to write the prescription. And what is the meaning of this symbol? This symbol was considered from a sign of Jupiter. Sign of Jupiter, and Jupiter is a Greek god of healing. Understand my dear students? हे RX काय आहे? RX हे साइन ऑफ ज्युपिटर असं मानलं जातं, आणि ज्युपिटर कोण होता? ज्युपिटर इज अ ग्रीक गॉड ऑफ healing, and that's why this RX is written before writing a prescription by the doctors, because they has praying to the God to heal that patient as early as you can. So it is a one type of pray also, but this RX meaning you take thou, recite. It is a Latin term, sign of Jupiter. Jupiter is a Greek god of healing, and this symbol was used for requesting God for the quick recovery of the patients, requesting, praying God for the quick healing, quick recovery of the patients by the doctor. That's why this RX is written before writing a prescription. Understand, my dear students, what is the meaning of superscription? Don't forget the word and meaning of this superscription. RX लक्षातच ठेवायचं. सुपरस्क्रिप्शन म्हणजे RX. RX म्हणजे take thou, you take. Understand? So this is the again end of the fourth part. Then let's move towards the fifth part of prescription, that is inscription. Inscription is nothing but it is the medications, main part of the prescription. It is also called as the main part of the prescription, and it contains the names and quantities of the medicaments. Understand? So inscription is the main part of the prescription, and in that the names and quantities of the medicines are mentioned in that inscription part, and the medicaments may be official preparations or non-official preparations. Means official means from pharmacopoeia, only name of the preparation is written. For example, piperazine citrate elixirs. Okay, but this piperazine citrate elixir, IP means Indian Pharmacopoeia. The detailed preparation methods was given in the Indian Pharmacopoeia. आपण असं मागच्या लेक्चर मध्ये सुद्धा असं म्हणलं होतं की अगोदरचे मेडिकेशन्स कसे लिहिले जायचे, कंपाऊंड अँड डिस्पेन्सिंग. अगोदरच्या प्रिस्क्रिप्शन मध्ये डायरेक्ट मेडिसिन्स लिहिलेले जायचे नसायचे. अगोदरच्या प्रिस्क्रिप्शन मध्ये इन्ग्रेडियंट्स लिहिले जायचे, आणि ते इन्ग्रेडियंट्सचा वापर करून फार्मसिस्टला ते औषध त्या फार्मसी मध्ये बनवून कंपाऊंड करून. अंडरस्टँड द मीनिंग ऑफ दॅट वर्ड, कंपाऊंडेड अँड डिस्पेन्सिंग. कंपाऊंड करायचं म्हणजे बनवायचं ते औषध आणि त्याच्यानंतर डिस्पेन्स करायचं. त्याच्यानंतर डिस्पेन्स म्हणजे ते पेशंटला द्यायचं. अंडरस्टँड? सो कंपाऊंडिंग अँड डिस्पेन्सिंग इन प्रिव्हियस टाइम. ओके, पण आता कसं आहे, फक्त औषधं डिस्पेन्सिंग राहिलेलं आहे, कंपाऊंडिंग राहिलेलं आहे का? आपण औषधं बनवून देतो का आजच्या वेळेमध्ये? नाही. तर आज आपण फक्त ते प्रिस्क्रिप्शनचे मेडिकेशन्स डिस्पेन्स करतो. ओके, बट आपला सिलेबस हा जुना आहे. प्रिस्क्रिप्शन हे त्यावेळेस डिझाईन केलेलं होतं, त्याच्यासाठी इथं दिलेलं आहे की पायप्राझिन सिट्रेट एलिक्झर नाव लिहिलं जायचं आणि ते पेशंटला बनवून दिलं जायचं, कंपाऊंड करायचं आणि डिस्पेन्स करायचं. सेकंड, नॉन ऑफिशियल प्रिपरेशन्स, क्वांटिटी ऑफ ईच इन्ग्रेडियंट्स विल बी गिवन अँड टाइप ऑफ प्रिपरेशन विल ऑल्सो बी गिवन. अंडरस्टँड? ऑफिशियल असेल तर फक्त त्या प्रिपरेशनचं नाव द्यायचं, आपण त्या IP मधून त्याचं प्रोसिजर वाचून ते तयार करून त्या पेशंटला द्यायचं. आणि नॉन ऑफिशियल प्रिपरेशन असेल तर डॉक्टर काय करणार, फक्त इन्ग्रेडियंटची नावं आणि त्याची क्वांटिटी लिहिणार. फार्मासिस्टनं ते परत त्या इन्ग्रेडियंटचा आणि क्वांटिटीचा वापर करून ते प्रिपरेशन बनवायचं आणि त्या पेशंटला डिस्पेन्स करायचं. अशी पद्धत त्या वेळेमध्ये होती. सो इन्स्क्रिप्शन. असो, तुम्हाला इथं एक गोष्ट लक्षात ठेवायची फक्त, व्हॉट इज द मिनिंग ऑफ inscription and what have included in the inscription part. I think you have understood better by this explanation. Inscription, main part of the prescription, name of medicines and their quantities are mentioned in the inscription. Understand, my dear students? So let's move towards the next part, that is the subscription of the patient, subscription of the prescription. Subscription म्हणजे काय? It is the direction to the pharmacist. म्हणजे डायरेक्शन कोणाला दिलं जायचं? फार्मासिस्टला. किती बनवायचं ते औषध हे त्या पेशंट फार्मासिस्टला सांगितलं जायचं. इन दिस पार्ट द प्रिस्क्रायबर गिव्स डायरेक्शन टू दी फार्मासिस्ट रिगार्डिंग द डोसेस फॉर्म टू बी प्रिपेअर्ड. म्हणजे लिक्विड बनवायचंय, टॅबलेट बनवायचंय, कॅप्सूल बनवायचंय, सिरप बनवायचंय का बनवायचंय, व्हॉट इज the dosage form he has to prepare is mentioned through the subscription part. Number of doses to be dispensed, म्हणजे 10 टॅबलेट द्यायचे, 20 द्यायचे, 50 द्यायचे. हाऊ मच क्वांटिटी ऑफ डोसेस is mentioned on the prescription for the pharmacist. The instructions, the directions for the pharmacist is written in the part subscription. Don't get confused regarding superscription, inscription, and subscription. Okay. So this is the subscription, very easiest one. Then the seventh part is the signature. Signature means direction to the patients. Direction to the patients means what is the direction given to the patient is written through the signature, and this signature is written in the English and sometimes Latin abbreviations like TID, 3 times a day, 2 times a day, and once a day is written down in the form of abbreviations BID, TID, OD. हे असं प्रिस्क्रिप्शन वर तुम्हाला आजही दिसेल. ओके. पेशंट डॉक्टर लिहितात क्रोसिन टॅबलेट TID means ter in die, BID means bis in die, ter in die means 3 times in a day, bis in die means 2 times in a day, and OD means once in a day, म्हणजे एक वेळेस, दिवसातून एक वेळेस. such type of abbreviations used by the doctors in the signature, in the direction for the patient. Okay, in the signature parts of prescription. I think you understood. Let's move towards the, and this instruction should be written on the label of container so that the patient can follow them. Means some examples as given here in the instructions may includes quantity to be taken, किती quantity घ्यायची एक वेळेस, frequency and timing of administration of the preparations, dose interval सकाळी, दुपारी, संध्याकाळी किंवा 2 तासाला, 2 तासानंतर, गॅप किती आहे 2 डोसेस मधला, that should be mentioned in the instructions. route of administration, okay, oral आहे, parenteral आहे, nasal आहे, that route should be mentioned by the doctors to the patients. And special instructions, if any, taken without milk, take with milk, or take with water, without milk, or dilution, gargle असेल तर dilution चे आपण बघितलं डोसेस फॉर्मच्या इंट्रोडक्शन मध्ये. such type of special instruction ते जे इन्स्ट्रक्शन्स आहेत ते दिले जातात ह्या सिग्नेचर पार्ट मधून. अंडरस्टँड. अँड रिन्युअल इन्स्ट्रक्शन्स आल्सो रिटन देअर. द नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स अ प्रिस्क्रिप्शन इज टू बी रिपीटेड इज रिटन बाय द फिजिशियन. ओके. किती वेळेस सेम प्रिस्क्रिप्शन तुम्हाला रिपीट करायचं आहे ते त्या डॉक्टर कडून लिहिलं जातं त्या प्रिस्क्रिप्शन मध्ये in renewal instructions, and it is very important for the case of habit forming drugs to prevent its misuse. नाहीतर काय करेल पेशंट, ते हॅबिट फॉर्मिंग किंवा नार्कोटिक ड्रग्स घेतल्यावर थोडंसं बरं वाटतं म्हणून, फॉर एक्झाम्पल कोरेक्स, सिरप कोरेक्स, यू नो बेटर, वारंवार कोरेक्स खूप जात होतं. that's why government having ban on that. Okay, so habit forming drugs, to prevent its misuse, renewal instruction should be written on the prescription by the physician, by the registered medical practitioner. Understand? And the last part of the prescription is prescriber signature and registration number. Means this prescription is official or not, written by a registered medical practitioner or not, or qualified doctors written by or not, that should be checked by the pharmacist, or it is the proof that the prescription must be signed by the prescriber of his own hand, and the registration number should be written in case of dangerous and habit forming drugs. Without the prescription of doctor, some drugs not possible to give without prescription. That's why prescription is required. And whose prescription? Qualified doctors whose registration number has been in the registered of the Medical Council of India, so that this registration number, signature of the doctor prescriber is important in the parts of the prescription. So these are the parts of the prescription, and next we will see in the next lecture, that is the types of prescription and errors and handling of the prescription in the next